We are predicting the 2025 NFC South standings, and I'm going to go first, starting with the worst, and then working my way back up to first. And who else are we going to pick as the worst team in this division other than the New Orleans Saints? This is probably the worst team in football. This team is going 2-15 because there's nothing good about this team. You chose Spencer Rattler as your quarterback, and by the way, I think if either Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck went to like a Minnesota or like just a team with like a decent situation, I think these guys could have developed into decent starting NFL quarterbacks. However, they went to the worst possible situation they could go to, and that's the New Orleans Saints, because the offensive line isn't good. Your number one weapon, Chris Olave, can't stay healthy. Rashid Shaheed's coming off a knee injury. Alvin Kamara is aging. I think Kellen Moore is going to be a horrible head coach, and this defense is old and aging, and they have consistently mismanaged this cap year after year after year with no results. This is just simply a horrible organization that's going to be picking a quarterback for the third straight year, and they are hoping it's going to be Arch Manning in New Orleans and have that arch to arch combination after about 50 years. But this is they're going to be last, right, Sammy? This is going to be the team that's last in the division.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 3. I don't think it's going to be 2-15. I actually have 3-14. Oh. So yeah, there's.
Hey, we disagreed.
We're off to a flying start. I think they're going to sneak in a random divisional win somewhere against the Panthers. The Panthers are going to somehow find a way. Yeah, the Saints. I wrote down here, I got nothing. There's nothing really optimistic about the New Orleans Saints this season. I would have had a bit more hope if they actually had a good QB on the roster, but they don't. They have Spencer Rattler and they have Tyler Shuck. And Tyler Shuck, I know you were high on him, but we all knew he had a chance. There was a chance that he would have started, and that would have been disastrous because he's clearly not ready. To this day, don't understand why the Saints didn't take Shadir Sanders. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of flack online right now about Shadir Sanders and whether he deserves to be the starter. I think on the New Orleans Saints, he'd be the starter. Would it be a good spot to be in? No, but at the very least, there's something to look forward to. So yeah, that's it about the Saints. I got nothing else.
Yeah, and to go back to your point that I was high on Tyler Shuck, I remember in the video I said if he goes to the right situation, and he just so happened to go to the exact wrong situation. This was not the right situation for Tyler Shuck to go to. Again, if he would have went to a situation that had a decent offensive line, a decent play caller, decent weapons, okay, but he's just not. This is just the wrong situation for Tyler Shuck. Saints, not much else needs to be said. They're going to be the worst team in the NFL. Now at 3, this pains me, Sammy. This pains me at 3 because before today, I had this team winning the division. Okay, I thought this team was going to win the division. However, there is some recent news that Caleb McGarry, who is going to be Michael Penix Jr.'s blindside protector, is going to be out for a significant period of time, and that means I think the Falcons are going to finish 3rd in this division. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be the 3rd place team in this division. Now, let me just say, okay, I'm going on the record on this. I think Michael Penix Jr. is the best quarterback in this division. I don't have any data to back that up right now. There's absolutely no stats. He played 3 games last year. I thought he looked great in those 3 games. However, it's 3 games. You can't base anything off it. I just think he's better than Baker Mayfield. I think he's better than Bryce Young. Okay, I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to prove this year that he's the best quarterback in this division. I think Drake London's going to have a huge year. I think Bijan Robinson's going to win Offensive Player of the Year. But I am concerned now about this offensive line. I am still concerned about this defense. I really like the edge rusher duo they brought in with Jalen Walker and James Pierce. However, they're both rookies, so you can't expect both of them to come in and get 10 sacks apiece. I do like some of the secondary upgrades they made, but however, they're just not big enough. Okay, and I think there's 2 teams in this division that are just slightly, and when I say slightly, I think these top 3 teams in this division are all really, really close. I know some people have the Bucs way above, head and shoulders above everybody else in this division. I do not. Okay, I think these 3 teams at the top are going to be very close this year. It's going to be a close 3rd place finish, but I do think the Atlanta Falcons are going to finish 3rd place. And it pains me, Sammy. It pains me to put Michael Penix Jr. in 3rd place because I love this man.
I can't believe that. That's crazy to me.
I'm objective.
I'm actually shocked. You're objective. I understand the injury to Caleb McGarry changes things, but I still think the Falcons are still going to be a solid team this year.
Oh, for sure.
I might be higher on Michael Penix than you are.
No.
This is crazy.
No way.
This is insane. I love Bryce Young, but I still think Michael Penix is going to end up having a better year than Bryce Young. I think the Panthers defense is somehow worse than the Falcons. And because of that, and even though I like their offensive line, the Panthers' offensive line is pretty damn solid. I don't think Bryce Young and his prowess is going to be enough to even have this team be over 500. So I had the Panthers at 7-10. I had the Panthers at 7-10. I want to bump that up to 8-9. And I still have the Falcons at 9-8. I do think the Falcons go over 500. And you want to know something before the injury? I had the Falcons. This is how high I was on the Falcons. I had the Falcons and the Commanders like right here. I was debating like who's actually going to be a better team because I'm not high on the Commanders defense either. I don't think they got any better. I really don't. But the Falcons, to me, I just felt like they got the correct weapons around Michael Penix. I think Bijan Robinson is a stud. The offensive line, in my opinion, is good enough. I had them win. I still have them winning 9-8, going 9-8. And I'm guessing we both have the same division winner, the Bucs, correct?
No, we do not. Again, we are different. We are different today, and I love it.
Wow.
It is
okay.
It
all
is
right.
so,
We're good. We're in business.
It is so
we're in business.
different. We are not agreeing on this, and I'm so excited about it because I hate agreeing with you. It's the worst. Okay, so I'm so excited. Okay, so again, I think I'm in a similar range with you with the Falcons. I had them 9-8 and winning the division. Now I have them 8-9, sliding down to third. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are going to take a step back this year. I did not like the Buccaneers offseason. I don't like the injury to Tristan Wirfs. I don't like the injury to Chris Godwin. It seems like Godwin's going to be out for a little while. Mike Evans has been very, very consistent, but he's starting to get up there in age. You feel like he might take a step back. Now they brought in Emeka Egbuka, who I think is going to have a really, really nice rookie year. However, I'm not a big fan of this defense either. I think some of their major pieces on this defense are starting to age as well. And Baker Mayfield had a really, really good year last year. But again, his third straight year in Tampa Bay, his third straight new offensive coordinator. I'm not a big Todd Bowles guy. I don't think Todd Bowles is in the upper echelon of head coaches in the NFL this year either as well. So I think the Buccaneers are going to take a slight step back. They're going to go 8-9. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to make the playoffs either. And my number one team in the division, I am picking Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers to win this NFC South with a 9-8 record. I love everything about Bryce Young. I love the comeback story, especially after he got benched to start off last year. He comes in. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL down the stretch. He was a top 10 quarterback the last 8 weeks of the NFL season. He was balling out, okay? Now, you improve that wide receiver room. You bring in Tedorola McMillan, who's a big X receiver on the outside. That's a big improvement. Xavier Legette in year 2. That's a big improvement. I like Jimmy Horn as well, someone who might not play as much, but he's going to have a really good year. Adam Thielen coming in as well. I really like the receiver room. Like you mentioned, I really like that offensive line. They bring in Rico Dowdle as well to pair with Chuba Hubbard. You draft Trevor Etienne as well in the 4th round. So now you got a solid and deep running back room as well. Now, the defense is a big concern. They were literally the worst defense in the history of the NFL last season. But they brought in a bunch of different pieces, both in the draft and in free agency, that I think are going to help them out a lot with this defense. I kind of get like it's not a true Lions vibe from when I picked the Lions to go to the Super Bowl, like we talked about in a previous episode, when I picked them in 2022 to go to the Super Bowl in 2023. But you could kind of see this culture shifting last year for the Carolina Panthers. You could start to see Bryce Young believe more and more and more, get more and more and more confident as the games went on last year. I think that's going to carry over here into 2025. And I'm telling you, Carolina Panthers, baby, 2025 NFC South champs, Sammy. Say something.
Wow. I actually love that.
Hell
love that.
Yeah.
I do
Hell
not
yeah,
have I don't have the cojones you do. I still think
Big
the
ones.
Bucs are going to win this division. And the reason is this. I think Baker Mayfield is the difference. I think the run defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has been good so many years that I think they're going to be able to stop or contain Bijan Robinson. I think they can contain Chuba Hubbard. And I think they're going to make, and although I like Michael Penix and I really, really like Bryce Young, I just don't see them shooting Baker Mayfield. Even with the fact that Chris Godwin's out, I love Emeka Egbuka. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver for them. This is really me just drinking the Baker Mayfield Kool-Aid. Last year, he had 4,500 passing yards, 41 touchdowns.
Amazing year.
He had a passer rating of 106.8 and a 70% completion percentage, which is absolutely crazy because he didn't have a year over 70% up until this past year. I understand. I think you drinking the Panthers Kool-Aid is perfect. I think it makes sense given the injuries that have occurred to the Falcons and, a believable regression that could very well happen to the Buccaneers. However, I'm going to give the Panthers another year. I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 win improvement for the Panthers. I still think they're going to finish third in this division. Love you, Bryce Young. Not quite yet, though. Baker Mayfield, it's still his house in the NFC South.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.